Hey guys, I wanted to do a video today going over my new vacuum chamber. The previous one I made over here finally died. I was testing out my new power supply, the neon sign transformer I picked up, and as you've seen in previous videos and as you can see now, I've had to patch this one several times due to the housing being made out of polycarbonate, and that caused it to melt in several different locations and eventually fail. So I think the last video I've uploaded showed that happening. So decided to finally bite the bullet and make a new vacuum chamber. So what I did is, in a fairly old video, you may recognize this aluminum plate. This was from the levitation coil video I did, which basically showed a coil levitating over a non-magnetic plate, so aluminum. It already had a hole drilled in it. Unfortunately, the hole was a little too big for what I was planning on doing, which I will go over right now. So what I did is I had a machinist in the shop fill that. I believe they made an aluminum disc, threaded it because the hole was threaded, and then mounted that in. I believe they sealed it with something as well, some kind of epoxy, something permanent. And then inside that disc they drilled the new hole, which is fitting a spark plug now, and also tapped it. So for this setup I have 3 spark plug holes, so those are my electrical feed through. So what I was planning is that the main electrical feed through for the center grid, for the fuser, this can be used for multiple things. But for the fuser setup, I have the main high voltage going to the center grid. The base plate will be like a common ground, which could potentially be, the secondary, the outer grid of the fuser. And then I have 2 other posts, which could be, positive, plus 5 volts, plus 5 volts, independent. And again, the plate is common ground. So I could use these to have, coils for controlling the plasma. There's actually a type of fuser that I was looking into. The name of it escapes me. It essentially had 4, or not 4. What was it? 6? Yeah, it's 6 shielded coils. Polywell, I think that's what it was called. Something like that. Anyway, basically these coils are supposed to contain the plasma better. I don't know, something I was going to look into. So I can now feed in more voltage to different things, lower voltage, higher voltage, whatever. So I'll be doing some more experiments with that. And then, of course, I have the air hole drilled there. If you want to see a schematic of this, I drew it up. I'll put it in the link in the description. I'm actually working on a personal website. So I'll probably put some posts up on there on how I built this. So from there, as you can see, let me try to not tilt the camera here. Actually, I got wires hooked up to it. So you can see there, it's kind of a mess under there, but you can see there's 3 spark plugs. The center one was one I had left over from a dirt bike, and the other 2 I had to purchase at Lowe's. I believe they were for like lawnmowers or something. Not quite sure. Anyway, they work. Besides which, those don't really have to handle the very high voltage. Only the center one does. So, from there, I had this. I've actually had this bell jar for quite some time. It's not a bell jar. It is, well, quite frankly, I forget what it was for. Some kind of vacuum filtration system, I believe. It wasn't specifically a bell jar, but it was designed to withstand the vacuum. So as you can see, very thick. The bottom here is probably about 1 inch where it's sanded, and then it's probably ½ an inch thick everywhere else. So plenty strong, and it's glass Pyrex, so pretty confident with this. I got that, and then I did a couple different gasket designs, or materials rather. This is a rubber material. It's called plumber's stuffing or something like that. Picked it up at a plumbing place, and didn't seem to work at first. It might have been because these weren't sealed yet and it wasn't pulling as tight of a vacuum. So I'll try this again tomorrow. Like right now it's really late. I don't want to wake anyone up. But for now, I've found success with this. It's like a foam, squishy, like almost craft foam material. And when it sits on here, it compresses it. And this works beautifully. So I'll be using this temporarily. Might not make a perfect seal, but it's been a lot better than anything else I've had. So I've been using this. And then, of course, bell jar. So it's just like that. So that takes care of the construction. Oh, and then there's 1 by 3 by 12 pieces of wood, like so. And I'm planning on mounting maybe some pressure gauges and voltage information, just a couple different, gauges and displays on this potentially. So let me talk about the electrical configuration, because it's a little tricky with this since it's made of aluminum. The last chamber I had was made entirely out of non-conductive material, so that made it really easy for safety. So you could pretty much lick the outside and be safe as long as you didn't touch the terminals on the bottom. This is metal, so when I first hooked this up today, I had this little magnet, and this went to one side of the transformer, and then the post here went to the other side. The way this transformer works is, well, actually the way both of them work, is you essentially have 2 coils. So you have one on this side that puts out negative 1,000 volts, or in this case it'd be negative 75,000 or 7,500 volts. And on this side it'd be positive 7,500 volts. And then in the middle it's a common, just nothing, ground pretty much. And that connects to the housing. So from here to the housing is about 7,500 volts. Across this terminal to the other terminal is 15 kilovolts. So with that being said, if you just go hooking this terminal up to the plate and that terminal up to the post, you're still going to have 7,000 volts potential between here and ground. Well, guess what? Your finger is ground. So when you touch this, or you touch the pipe that's connected to the plate, which is also made of metal, you're going to get a little shock. So luckily, I found this out without, shocking myself. I tested it with a ground rod, but this has developed a little bit of a hiccup in my design, because originally I was just planning on having the plate be the negative voltage, or was it negative or positive? I forget. Whichever way. And then the grid would be, the other. So this is not the case. This I'm going to have as a common ground. Actually, I'm going to get an outlet plug and have this go directly to ground, so that there's absolutely no chance of any charge building up on here and me getting electrocuted, especially when working with this voltage. I am not currently going to be using this, since I'm only getting, I think I'm getting about 4 kilovolts off of that, probably a little less. It's interesting though, because it's not actually producing as much plasma. With that being said, the amount, it's pretty close, but with about the same amount, it's not getting near as hot, which is good, because it's not pulling as much current. This is limited at 30 milliamps. That thing could draw basically as much as it wanted. I think short-circuiting, I think that was drawn close to 2 amps on the secondary side. So that's at 4 kilovolts, 2 amps. That's like, I'll do the math, that's a lot of power. So this one is not giving as much current, which is good. So with that being said, I grounded this to the chassis. So as you can see here, that's grounded to this, which is neutral. And then what I'm going to end up doing, most likely, is this will be one side of the transformer, which will be the inner grid, and then I'll have my outer grid attached to this, which will go to the other side of the transformer. That will allow the 15 kilovolt potential between the 2 grids, but you're going to have that potential between the grids and the ground. So I don't know how that's going to affect it. I don't know if that's going to negatively affect it, positively affect it, I don't know. So we'll have to wait and see on that. So since I built this, I actually just finished this today. I got a couple of videos downloaded that I'm going to upload probably after this. I did a couple tests, did some stuff with magnets, which was pretty cool. Really basic stuff. I haven't really been able to fabricate how these things are stuck together. Get off. There we go. Okay. So yeah, I did a couple videos with these. These are just from Microwave Magnetrons. Ripped them off. So I put most of my voltage on the base plate, and then through here, and then put magnets over it and stuff. Also did some testing with, where'd it go? It just disappeared. Anyway, I had my little grid. Where'd it go? I wanted to show it. Yeah, I really do need to clean this up. I just got home from school and haven't had any time to clean anything, unfortunately. Anyway, I had to cut down. Man, I literally just saw it. Where'd it go? Fall? No. Anyway, I had to cut down the grid post, the ceramic post I made. I had to cut it down because this bell jar is not as tall as the original one. So, cut that down, did a very basic test with that. I literally just saw it when I grabbed the magnets, and it just evaporated. Okay, anyway. So, I did a couple tests with that. I had some interesting phenomenons happen. With the magnet, I was actually able to control where it went. I made like a little dome over this, and then I actually got a couple fuses and put another magnet on top and made like a teardrop shape, and then it exploded out at the top, which was very cool. I'll post a video on that. And then did some tests with the grid, had some interesting kind of staggered layers of plasma. I had a few of those effects in the last chamber, but this was pretty significant. And then I had a brand new effect. I think it might be because the voltage is so high. It was only when the voltage was rectified. A lot of this was done, a lot of the other tests was done with just directly from the transformer, so AC. But I put this little diode in line, and only when I did that, some of the plasma actually went back in line in this vacuum tube. It caught me off guard, because it would do it even when the vacuum pump wasn't pumping. I think in the video, I only showed it when the vacuum was pumping, but I did do a test to see if it was like sucking them out or what, and it wasn't. It was actually just traveling through the tube, and it'd go all the way back up to there. It wouldn't be as bright there, but and I tested it. I put a magnet next to it, and it did in fact like move. And it actually felt a bit of static, so that kind of freaked me out. But anyway, it was indeed like going back through the tube. So I'll definitely post that video. I found that interesting, and I'll definitely look into that more. I might try to wrap some coils around the tube to see if I can take power off that or something. That might be interesting to see, like, what I can do with that. Oh, and I think I just found my... Yep, it fell. The little grid thing fell on the ground. Hold on. There's that part of it. Where is the grid? I don't know where the grid went, but as you can see, I had to cut this down. So I literally just had this kind of balanced like that. And I'm probably going to replace this with, you can get high alumina ceramic tubing. That's what most of the fusion people use on the forums. So I think you can pick that up on eBay for like between $6 and $12. So probably pick up some of that and make my own special things. Because now that I have these spark plugs, I can make interchangeable grids and whatnot. So definitely be looking into that. Other than that, I mean, that's about it. I got a brand new setup. Really excited to start doing new things. And I got some free time now on my hands. I'm off for summer. I got about about a week here before I have to go back and start my classes again. But yeah, so vacuum system's better than ever. Got a brand new transformer, and yeah, we're good to go. So stay tuned for more videos, and thanks for watching.